Hi, I'm Haley, coming to you from the Atlanta area. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as at guavacolorworks. Welcome to the 5th episode of the Fruit and Fiber podcast, where I talk about my knitting projects and any other kind of fun stuff that's going on. Thank you so much for taking time out of your days to hang out with me and also share the fun stuff that you're working on. Okay, so first things first, what I'm wearing. So this is the Classic Rib Tap by Pearl Soho. I think I talked about this on maybe the first episode of the podcast. I knit this one using skeins of my own hand-dyed yarn. This was the Grandiose colorway on my Dandelion DK base. Super squishy, super comfy, and I love it. I've been wearing it all day today. So yeah, highly recommend. It's a free pattern. It's super quick and easy to whip up. In fact, I am making another one, which I will show you guys a little bit later in the podcast. But first, just to talk about my finished object, my one finished object for the past 2 weeks. So I showed it off on the podcast last week, and it was basically just a long knitted tube of insanity. But that was the Oslo hat by Petite Knit. That was a gift for my youngest brother. I knit on the Lion brand Heartland yarn in their Kings Canyon colorway, which was a like forest green, kind of slightly heathered with a like soft neutral gray. I do not have any pictures of it yet. I don't have the finished object to show you guys, obviously, because Christmas, was 2 weeks ago now. And that was his Christmas present. So I didn't get any pictures of it because in South Carolina, which is where I'm from, it was like 65 degrees outside. So it was way too warm to be wearing any knit objects of any sort. So even though we went on, some hikes and did a lot of outdoor stuff, and it would have been perfect, to wear knitted items, had it been not 65 degrees, I would have gotten some pictures. So my mom is going to take some pictures of him, hopefully soon, since it has dropped down to like the low 50s now. So hopefully we'll get some more pictures, and I'll show those off either on Instagram or here. So that was my one finished object, but I have lots of whips. I have 3 whips to share with you guys, 2 of which I cast on yesterday. So the first one that I'll talk about is the Classic Rib Tap Part 2. So this is a Christmas present for my other brother. Clearly Christmas has passed and I did not finish it, but here it is. This is, again, Classic Rib Tap by Pearl Soho, free pattern. This is also Lion brand Heartland, but this is in the Hot Springs colorway. So his favorite color is purple. He asked for a purple beanie. I liked the Oslo hat. It just took me a really long time. Like, this seems to be going by a lot faster. Maybe it's just, obviously I know that ribbed fabric has a lot more stretch, but maybe it also grows the fabric a lot more lengthwise. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna have to knit the same amount of fabric, but I feel like I'm already making a lot more progress on this than I was with the Oslo hat, because it was just constant stockinette, and it was also like a really tight fabric, which makes sense. It's a beanie, you want to like trap all the heat, but it was a little bit hard on my hands. And then at the end you have this portion where you sew it together, and that was actually kind of fun because I've never done sewing on knitting before, other than like mattress stitch, but this was like truly just kind of tack it down with a few stitches to get the brim to make a double brim, and then you fold that, so really it's almost like a triple brim. So again, not suited for 65 degree weather, but this one should be nice and cozy and squishy and super simple. So he has already gone back, so he's no longer staying with my family right now. He's already gone back to Italy. So I will just mail this to him. So that is the first whip. Oh, and I'm using my ChiaoGoo shorty set. I think I'm using both 3-inch. Yeah, both 3-inch, size 3 needles. From what I understand, the Lion brand yarn, Heartland yarn, is like an Aran weight. So the pattern originally calls for a DK weight, so I just did some math and said okay, well, if I want to knit the largest size, DK weight I think is 11 wraps per inch and Aran weight is 8 wraps per inch. So I just did some math to say, okay, I'll cast on, I think, what equated to be like the youth size, if I remember correctly. And I think it's gonna work out fine. Obviously it's gonna stretch a lot more than this. So yeah, that is my first whip. My second whip, okay, so sold out in a crop progress. Still haven't finished this thing, guys, but hopefully I really think, I don't know, I'm going to jinx myself. I really think I can finish it by next week, or at the very latest in 2 weeks. So this is where I am. So as you can see, I don't know, I'm trying to get all this in frame. I finished a sleeve. So that little tiny bit, sorry, there's a cat fur on it. That little, like where the marker is to the end, obviously this is where I was last time I showed you guys. Ignore these holes in the armpit, I'm gonna fix those. This is where I was last time. As I said, I have a massive wingspan. I have to make really long sleeves. So I think when I showed you guys on the podcast, I was using 10-inch circulars. I think I had like a 5-inch cable on there and a 2-inch, so 10-inch circular. So I had a 5-inch cable, 2-inch needle in my left hand, 3-inch needle in my right hand, and I was killing my hands. It was the same thing. It was like super small needle. This is a DK weight yarn. The fabric was just getting so dense, and it was just so hard to manipulate. Or really the needle, like the circular needle itself, was getting so hard to manipulate that I caved. You guys will be proud of me. I did magic loop for the rest of the sleeve. I'm getting there. I think once I get to this point on the second sleeve, I'm just going to do all of this in magic loop, because it definitely went way faster than trying to do the tiny 10-inch circular around and around and around. So I don't know if I'm 100% sold yet. I'm going to give it another sleeve, but I think I may be getting the hang of it. I think I may start enjoying it. We'll see. Okay, so finish that sleeve, and then this would be where sleeve number 2 was at last time I showed you guys. So that was like 2 weeks ago. So I've got some good progress on this one. So I think I'm doing 11 of the color repeats on the sleeve. And then I think I've done 9 on this sleeve so far. I'm just checking the camera. Yeah, I've done 9 so far. So just a couple more to go, and then I'll get to that long ribbed cuff portion. I did a slight decrease here. There's like a little kind of square motif, and so I just snuck in some decreases there because I really wanted this cuff to be pretty tight on my arm. I kind of wanted like almost like a peasant blouse type fit for the sleeves. It didn't turn out quite like that because the sleeves, even the top was still pretty fitted, which was totally fine. I just wanted a little bit. So very happy with it. Then I'll do a couple more repeats on the body and do ribbing on the body. We'll see how much of the burgundy color I have left. I may run out, but that's okay. I have plenty of the navy. I'll just do an extra long ribbing on the bottom, and that will be perfect, and I'll be happy with it, and I will be so excited to wear this. It should be cold enough. Like I said, it's getting down to the low 50s here. I am born and raised in the South. Low 50s is cold for me. It is sweater weather for me. So I'll be super happy with that one. Can't talk. I think that's all I had to say on that one. Okay, so then the last whip. Oh, also, I cast on this hat yesterday. Then my last whip that I also cast on yesterday is the Guernsey Triangle by Jared Flood for Brooklyn Tweed. So I know a couple of episodes back, I was talking about how I had this skein of Earnest, which is my kind of like light butter yellow color. I had a sample skein on my fig base, which is a fingering base. Merino cashmere nylon, super, super squishy, perfect for next to skin accessories. And I really wanted to do a triangular shawl of some sort. I did find a pattern. It didn't end up having as much kind of like lace edging as I was really hoping for initially, but I found the pattern. I loved it. I think it fits more with my style. So that's what I cast on. So this is the Guernsey Triangle. Can you guys see that? So it's all like alternating purl and knit stitches. It creates this kind of like bumpy texture up here, and then this kind of like angular, not quite chevron, but just like, diagonal striping texture there. And these sections will repeat throughout the entire shawl. And you can ignore this little orange yarn up here. That's going to go away. That's just for the provisional cast on. And ultimately those will get sewn together at the very end just to kind of close up that edge, and this will be the top edge. So it's going by super quickly, as you know things do usually when there's a lot of lace and yarn, not yarn overs, but you do the make one for using a backwards loop. So all of that's going pretty quickly. I'm really enjoying this. I'm excited to see it grow. And I am planning to make the smallest size, which is supposed to use up 390 yards of yarn. This one I think has 435 yards. So we'll see. Depending on how much I have, I may try to sneak in one final repeat. I really don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm definitely planning to like stress block this. Is that what you call it? What do you call it? Aggressively block this shawl because I just want it to be as big as possible, using as little yarn as possible. So yeah, so that's the plan. Really enjoying it. Super squishy. Clearly I got a lot done in a day. I'm sure that will slow down as the rows get longer and longer and longer. But yeah, thank goodness. It's kind of like I have kind of a good mix of projects. So I have like the really complicated color work project. I have the not really complicated but has a little bit more that you need to think about project, and then I have the total mindless car knitting project. So it's a good mix of like, okay, I'm getting bored with this one, or this one's too complicated right now. I don't want to have to like, manipulate a bunch of different things. So I have good variety to swap between, which is nice. All right, cool. So that is all my whips, but I do want to talk about the Make 9 challenge. Mine is technically a Make 10. We'll see how many I get done. I should have looked before I started the podcast. I don't know if I got any of my Make 9 done last year. Partially because new patterns were coming out. I'm like, oh, that's what I want to do. Or, I had a skein of yarn or a couple skeins of yarn. I was like, oh, I want to make this, that kind of thing. So we'll see how much I get done. Are you guys doing the Make 9 challenge? What patterns are on your list? Let me know below. Have you already started? So the Guernsey triangle is the first one on my list. So I will get at least one of the Make 9 patterns done. And then also tell me if you have any tips for staying motivated, because last year I, tried to be really good. I went on Ravelry. I set my queue up with all of 9 patterns. I even gave them like date ranges to be like, okay, I have to cast on by this date and I have to finish by this date. And like, that didn't work. And normally that seems like something that would really work for me because I am very like schedule oriented, organization oriented. I love that kind of stuff. But I think I just got too far behind. I was like, well, it's never going to happen now. So let me know your thoughts. If you participate, what patterns you're doing and any tips you have. So I'm just going to go through mine. Feel free to check out these patterns. Again, I am not advanced enough with video editing yet to where I can pop pictures into the video, but I will link all the patterns in the description box below. So please check them out. All right, so the first one, like I said, is the Guernsey triangle. I put that very first in my queue. I'm starting it now. That one should at least get done. The second one in my queue are the Springbound mitts by Erica Heuser. They are gorgeous, gorgeous fingerless gloves that have a lot of color work. So it's like this beautiful like bird motif on the back of the hand, and then kind of like a checkerboard style motif on the like palms of your hands. So heavy color work. I assume that I'm gonna have to, if I want to do that one, I would really have to do magic loop, or I may try DPNs, but that seems really complicated with doing color work as well. So we'll see. So I already have the yarn for that one picked out. I'm going to repurpose the yarn that I had set aside for the fluorite socks. I just couldn't get into those socks, so I really hadn't put a lot of effort into it yet, so it wasn't really a big deal. But basically I'm going to use my shiitake base, which was a 80/20 BFL nylon sock base. Has a high 2-ply twist, and it should be really good for anything that I want to be really sturdy. So the colors I'm going to use are Aloof. Oh, I didn't grab them. Be right back. Are Aloof. So this is the kind of pinky mauve color. That's going to be the main color, like the main background color. Then I have Winsome. That's going to be like the bird and then any of the other, contrasting colors. And then there's like a little kind of section along the cuff that is a separate color, so I'm going to use Fanciful for that, and I'm sure I'll have plenty of Fanciful left over. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm hoping that I will actually stick to that one since I already have the yarn. I think that's really my biggest thing that kind of keeps me from doing the projects, is if I don't already have the yarn, then it's really hard for me to I don't know, not justify the expense, because it's not an expense. It's like, this is my, this is my like entertainment. I'm making clothes and accessories for myself. So it's like dual purpose, but you guys know, like, yarn can be expensive. So that's, I think that's what kind of holds me back sometimes, but I have the yarn for these. So fingers crossed, I will do these too. All right, the third one that I'm going to do is the Guthrie pullover by Caitlin Hunter, who is Boyland Knitworks. I'm just scrolling my show notes. I'm planning to dye up a warm kind of like orangey brown color for the main color of the sweater, and then a deep brownish black for the contrasting color. I think when I was looking at the projects that other people had done, there were some where like the contrasting color was darker, and I actually didn't see a ton of them that were like this, but when it was dark like that, it almost struck me as like a leopard print. So I think it would be a really cool idea to do like traditional leopard print colors, but do them on the Guthrie for kind of like a fun, weird, modern twist on a leopard print. So may turn out great, may turn out awful. I'm gonna try it. We'll see how it goes. The next one I'm going to do is the Rift Pullover by Jared Flood for Brooklyn Tweed. I've talked about this one on the podcast before. I haven't had a chance to use Brooklyn Tweed yarn before. I've done a lot of their patterns, but I haven't really used their yarn. But I might use this as an opportunity to do it. Again, it's a little pricey, but I'm making a present for Tyler, so it's totally justified, right? So we'll see. They recommend that you use Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, and I had him look at the colors the other day, and he liked the Button Jar colorway, which is like a cool toned, very bright, vibrant green with different kind of tweedy flecks in it. So we'll see. I really want to use it. I think I'm gonna order it soon. We'll see. The fifth one on the list. Sorry, I'm gonna get some water. The fifth one on the list is the Sheer V by Jessie May. I've been seeing these pop up a ton, and they're beautiful. I really like the ones, especially where the V portion is in like a nude colored mohair, so it really looks sheer. So I'm gonna do that. I think I want to do like a deeper medium toned purple. Like very like royal purple for the actual main color of the sweater, but we'll see, because you're actually marling the DK weight yarn and the mohair throughout the entire sweater. So we'll see how those work together. I think it would be cool to have like for me, nude is very light cream, like a light cream and like a deep purple. We'll see how those play together. That may or may not happen. It's gonna happen. I just may change my mind on the purple. We'll see. That's the fun of doing the Make 9, because you don't have to have everything decided yet. Number 6 on my list is the Bodie Cardigan by Elizabeth Doherty. That one's really pretty. It has a lot of texture to it. It's kind of similar to the Guernsey Triangle in terms of it has different like bands of pattern, which I think are really cool. And that one, I don't have any hand knit cardigans, so for myself, I knit one for my sister, but I don't have any of my own, and I really need just kind of like a staple cardigan. So I'm gonna do that one in like a neutral gray, I think. Next one on the list is the Bouquet Sweater by Junko Okamoto. I totally forgot to include this one on my original Make 9 collage, and I'm kicking myself because I've literally talked about this one before. I wanted to make it forever. I think the colorwork idea is the coolest thing, because it's like right side in, inside out colorwork at the same time. It's really cool, but I don't have any kind of color combination picked out yet. So if you guys have any suggestions, or if you've made one, please tag me. I'd love to see it, or I'd love to know what kind of colors you guys would recommend if you were to do one. Number 8 is the Ollivander's Turtleneck by Fable Knitwear. I love anything that's like high neck. or collar or anything like that. So I would love to make myself a turtleneck. I'm planning to do that one in like a medium or deep cobalt blue for the main color, like the main all over sweater. And then there's these really pretty little kind of like flecks that almost look like wand sparks, which I think is the idea. And I want to do those in like a light sage color, I think. All right, my 9th one, normally would be my last one, but it's my next one, is the Koivua pullover by Caitlin Hunter also. I don't really have a color combination picked out for that one yet, but I would love to use Spin Cycle yarns for the contrasting color. I just haven't gotten a chance to use their yarns yet, and that'd be a really cool way to do it. And then the last one is the Kala Shawl by Nastasia Hornby, who is Moonstruck Knits on Instagram. And that one also I don't have a color picked out yet. So lots of projects. I'm not sure how many I will get done. I will get at least one done because I'm working on it right now. And now that I say that, maybe I never finish it. We'll see. Hopefully that's not the case. But yeah, that is all of my yarn, knitting, whip, FO, all the things related goodness. So if that's what you're here for, thank you so much. But if you also want to stay to hear about my life updates, then keep on watching. Okay, so the past 2 weeks, so I recorded right before Christmas. We had Christmas, obviously. I got to spend an entire week with my family. Tyler and I both went to visit them. They live in rural South Carolina, in the upstate area. So there are plenty of opportunities to hike. Our family bought the whole family hiking boots for Christmas. So that was really awesome because I've been using my tennis shoes, which is fine, but having some ankle support was very appreciated. I also got a solid lotion bar. So I saw these on Instagram. Somebody was talking about them and I asked for a couple for Christmas. I don't know if you can see that. It had a little, oh yeah, it's still there. It has a little honeybee stamped into it, and I think it's queen bee, something. I will look it up and I will link to it on Etsy. But basically it's like beeswax and shea butter and almond oil and coconut oil. And she has like an insane amount of scents. So you can find pretty much any scent that you would want. But basically it's kind of like, it's a solid lotion bar. So it's almost like chapstick for your hands, but I am in love with this. Like, it's been so nice to just rub it on my hands. It is a little bit thick, but if I put it on maybe like, I don't know, like 5 minutes before I'm about to knit, it's definitely like fully soaked in at that point. And I don't find that it like is too sticky for the yarn or anything like that. So love it. Super appreciative to get that for Christmas. It was really nice. So yeah, so that was Christmas. And then for New Year's, we hung out with some friends, went to a party with some friends of ours, and that was nice. Yeah, it's been great to, just kind of have like a community of people that you can hang out with for all these major milestones. So yeah. And then last night the power went out. It wasn't rainy yesterday. It's been really rainy and stormy the week before, but it was so windy, and so we think like a tree came down on some kind of power line. But anyway, our power was out from 6:30 in the evening to 2:30 in the morning. Got a little cold. Tyler and I played some games by flashlight. I did a lot of knitting on the Guernsey triangle by flashlight. But overall, I mean, it's not too bad. It's funny because we've been in this house for like 2.5 years, and that was the first time the power had ever been out. But it was a good excuse to light literally all of my candles and put them throughout the house, and that was kind of fun. So yeah. And then probably the biggest and most bittersweet news is that Tyler and I are leaving Atlanta. We are moving to Charlotte, North Carolina. I got a new job opportunity that was too good to pass up. I'm super excited for this job, but it is going to be really hard and sad to leave all of our friends that we have here and our church family that we have here. But overall, like, we're excited. We're really excited for this new adventure in our lives. So yeah, if you guys have if you're from Charlotte, let me know, because that'd be really cool. We should definitely meet up. I'm hoping to get into some more knit group, like knit together kind of things. I didn't really get to do any of that while I was here. The couple of places that were hosting those were kind of far away from me, especially on a weekday. It was just really not going to happen. But I'd like to devote some time to that when we move. So if you guys have any recommendations for that, or if you know of any fun things to do in Charlotte, I am open to all of the above. And then the last kind of thing related to that is that there may be some podcast delays. So we are very rapidly trying to sell our house because I start my new job in 3 weeks. So we're trying to sell our house. We are going to have some contractors, come and like paint and do all that kind of stuff and really get it show ready because we do need to get going. So we will hopefully put our house on the market by the end of this coming week or early next week. We think that we'll be able to sell it pretty quickly. So hopefully we will be able to then buy a house the following week, the week before I start my new job. So we'll see. I'm still hoping to podcast. I don't foresee any reasons that I couldn't, have some extra time on Sunday afternoons, which is when I do this. But just please be aware that there may be delays. But yeah, thank you so much again for hanging out. I really enjoy showing off the stuff that I'm working on. I like to know what stuff you guys are working on too, and any kind of recommendations for various things that you may have. Thanks so much, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.